Happy Valentine's Day. We are at the headquarters for Channel Islands National Park in Ventura, California, and we are getting ready to head out on one of those boats to go to Santa Cruz Island. We're going to get dropped off on one side of the island, then we're going to spend 2 days backpacking across the island. We'll do some day hiking from camp, and hopefully we'll get really dang close to finishing this island in this national park. So we made it to Prisoners Harbor. We are walking on to the island from the dock, and we will be making our way up to Del Norte Campground. About 3.2 miles with very heavy packs. We're carrying 11 liters of water between the two of us in order to make sure we're good for today and tomorrow. Yeah, we normally carry about 1 liter each. So this is yeah, a lot more than usual. My goodness, is this not amazing? It has been a heck of a climb, as you maybe could tell a little bit of, but wow, when you get views, they are just awesome. And honestly, there's views in most places. One of the things about hiking on Channel Islands is that it's a mix of hiking on old roads, like what I'm walking on now, and hiking on true trail. And the true trail goes up and down really steeply as it winds into canyons. So, oh, I did not pick the correct site. Why? There's one right there with a view. What is it? I think it's probably one. Yeah, so it winds in and out pretty steeply, but despite not having chosen the correct site, this is our campsite, and that's the view. So I can't complain too much, although definitely recommend site 1 or 2 if you don't think it's going to be windy or rainy. Sites 3 and 4 both have good tree cover. So that seems to be the big difference between them. It's really pretty. Look at this amazing view of the Pacific Ocean. It is so incredibly calm and flat today. It's like a lake almost. It just Doesn't even seem real. This has been a pretty rough hike. We are hiking on a trail / road called the Navy Road, and we were hopeful that because it's a road, it would be like kind of smooth. And it is fairly smooth, but it's smooth steep down and smooth steep up over and over again. So we've been
damaged from the storm.
We've been getting a lot of altitude gain that we weren't really expecting. This part of the road looks kind of good, but a lot of the road has been pretty washed out because of the storms that came through the LA and San Diego area last week. So yeah, not sure what they normally look like, but they're definitely in a bit of a mess right now. Okay, we are reapproaching camp. We are going to stay there once we get in. We managed to make it back before sunset, which was our hope. Today's hiking is going to come in at just about 15 miles with about 3,700 feet of elevation gain. We were expecting 15 miles, but only about 3,000 feet of elevation gain. So this is really one of the first times that our Gaia GPS system that we use to estimate mileage and altitude has actually underestimated what we're going to do. Usually, if it's not spot on, it's overestimating. So it was a bit of a challenge mentally today. But the views did make up for it. And hopefully the Advil that we will take at camp will also help our bodies recover from it. So we are headed off for our second day of hiking. Today is a full packs all day long day. We are going to be hiking about 15 miles, we think, including a couple of side trips to Chinese Harbor and along the Chinese Pines Trail. So we will be strolling into camp with hopefully enough time to dry off everything that is wet, because along with being on the coast comes a lot of humidity, and our tent and sleeping bag and everything are just quite wet from the overnight dew point. Well, we thoroughly enjoyed a long snack break at Chinese Harbor. We called my mom, who was at work, but answered our call because she thought it was an emergency. Sorry, Mom, we just wanted to show you the view. And we called one of our BFFs to show her and their daughter, Soren, who is homesick, the views from here, and ate a ton of food. And now we are doing the long climb back up to the trail. It's going to be about 1,500 feet of climbing in the next stretch. So we're going to be whooped, but so far still very happy. We have made it to the China Pines Trail. Some fog has rolled in over the mountain, but it's not really bringing rain, just kind of this very, very light mist. And it's opening back up. And oh my gosh, it just is awesome. This cove that you can see down there and the trail that zigzags up out of it, that is where we were earlier today. That's the Chinese harbor. And then we don't know much about them, but this trail is named for a particular species of pine tree. The China pines is what we have been told. And I think that that's what these trees are all around. So hopefully we'll get a chance to learn a little bit more about that particular kind of tree at some point before we head out. In case you were wondering, that was a tough climb.
Oh. Good job.
Well, we had some pretty gnarly fog that accompanied us over some pretty gnarly rocky trail up to the Montanian Ridge and Montanian Trail intersection. And now we've been kind of rock hopping our way down because the trail has been pretty eroded and washed out, but it's starting to open back up to be smoother trail, and the fog is starting to open back up, so we have more views. We can feel some sun on our backs and on our faces. So we have a little bit of hope that we might get a clearing before this evening. Super weird thing just happened. We heard this insane pop and boom. It was almost like a rocket. We have a hypothesis, I guess, that it is a rocket, or that maybe it was a rock fall, earthquake, the boat ran into the island.
Somebody didn't push the button in time.
Somebody didn't push the button in time. That's hilarious. We've been hiking near all these like kind of weird, creepy Navy sites, and we were joking about how they felt like we were in Lost. And it was like, every 27 minutes you have to push the button. We literally saw one guy in a truck, and he seems to be the only person out here for miles working this site. So... Good evening. We have finished our long day of backpacking, 15 miles, 3,000 feet of elevation, gain, probably a little bit more loss actually because we started higher than we are now anyway. And we are sitting on the docks at Scorpion Prisoners Harbor? No, Scorpion Ranch. Just listening to the waves gently lap up onto shore and planning our day tomorrow. We've got one more hike, but we'll be able to do it with just day packs, which thank goodness, because our shoulders are killing us from carrying our packs along with extra water in our packs yesterday and today. So we are pretty jazzed about that and looking forward to a good night's sleep. Good morning. Looking at this camera is the closest I've seen to a mirror for 3 days. We are setting out on our last day of hiking. We have just one day bag that we're sharing between us today. So we were able to leave all of our gear in Fox boxes down at camp. And we're hiking out to Smugglers Cove. It's been a really good trip. We are tired, and definitely the only reason we're doing this today is that we are gonna finish this island. And we didn't know if that would be possible, but everything has worked out to get there. So now we really wanna take advantage of the fact that we can finish. So these islands right past my finger, those islands are part of the Anacapa Island, which is also part of Channel Islands National Park. And you can take a different boat ride to actually get over there and hike. It's like a chain of islands that are connected underwater, but you can only access that first little one on the left. And there are some hiking trails there, like maybe a mile and a half, 2.5 miles of hiking. We finished that back up in the fall of 2021. So we probably won't head back out to that island, although it is very pretty to look at the rocky shorelines there. Well, we made it to Smugglers Cove, and the next leg of our adventure is what we've been told is a rarely maintained trail called Yellowbanks. It starts off with this access point that looks tolerable, but we think it's going to get pretty overgrown. Let's go back to our camp. Well, that is going to be a wrap on our 3-day backpacking adventure across Channel Islands. We started at Prisoners Harbor, hiked out to Del Norte where we camped, did some day hiking from there, and then we crossed the island making stops at Chinese Harbor and China Pines, all the way down to where we were camping at Scorpion Ranch. And then today we hiked out to Smugglers Cove and then Yellowbanks and back. Of course, we got back early, so we ended up coming to up to Cavern Point, sit and eat some snacks and enjoy our life. So all in, we're about 45 miles of hiking on this island, and there's a lot of ways you can do this without as much distance as we did if you just want to have the experience of Channel Islands even into the backcountry. It's a fairly strenuous but completely manageable in a day 4-mile hike from Prisoners Harbor up to Del Norte. And then from Del Norte as a straight shot over to Scorpion Ranch is only about 11 miles, maybe 10. There is a pretty strenuous climb over the Montanian Trail. But other than that, it's a fairly easy trail. It's easy to follow. It's just kind of up and down more than you want. And then once you make camp at Scorpion Ranch, the last day before your boat arrives, you can do some other day hiking and explore stuff that you hadn't seen yet, like Potato Harbor if you missed it, or out to Smugglers Cove like we did. So yeah, lots of ways to not have to be insane and still get to enjoy this place.